Welcome to Season 2 of Stand Up and Stand Out, the show for those leaving university and heading into the workforce, or for those already working but disillusioned by their current job. I'm your host, Nikki Green, and we're here to help those in transition find a life with purpose so they can pursue their passion. Following nearly 2 decades working in Fortune 500 companies, I want to share my leadership learnings with all of you. Thought leaders are needed in all walks of life, not just business. And we're in a critical time to pivot ourselves and the community around us to build a better future together. There's no syllabus for this part of the journey. It's time for you to choose your own adventure. Let us help you map the path that aligns with your values and supports your goals and dreams. Work doesn't have to be a bad 4-letter word. By bringing your unique strengths to the table, the impossible can become possible. My stretch goal for this season will be to practice my Spanish, appreciate your support so I can achieve my goals, and keep pushing myself to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Let's get ready for the next episode. Welcome to episode 19 of Stand Up and Stand Out. Bienvenido al episodio 19. Apérate y sé destacado. We're expanding our global presence, and you'll start to see us in more places in the podcast universe. We're excited to now have video on Spotify. So now, in addition to seeing our wonderful guests on YouTube, you can also check out the visual format of our show on Spotify. Don't forget to subscribe to our channels and turn on alerts to catch the latest episodes. And although we only have 2 more episodes left in season 2, we have some fun new projects launching that you can check out. My book, I Laugh in the Face of Danger, is now available through Audible and iTunes. So in case you haven't read it yet and prefer to listen to my amazing radio voice, you can head over to those platforms and download your copy today. So episode 19, today we're going to talk about grad school. Debo ir a la escuela de posgrado. As you're finishing the semester, you may not be ready to go to work and want to expand your knowledge base. Or maybe you finished school and started working, but now you want to step up to that next level and you know you need some additional education, or you just want to steer your career on a different path. During the I Graduated Now What conference this summer, we had a fantastic panel of speakers talk about their journey and decisions to attend various grad school programs at different stages in their careers. So let's bring back Cathlyn Melvin, Aditi Ramchandani, and Jocelyn Brady to share their stories. How should I know if I should go to grad school? So, Cathlyn, why don't you kick us off there?
Yeah, I think that can be answered so many different ways depending on who you are, what your path has been, what you want your path to be. And I think it depends on your industry. It depends on your history. So how do I know if I should go to grad school? Some things that I think that I would consider if I were having that conversation with myself again are, from your personal side, does your personal life align with dedicating yourself to full-time school? Does it align with dedicating yourself to part-time school right now? Your professional life, are you ready to leave a role? Is your role flexible so that you can do both? And then from the financial side, like, how are you going to support yourself through school, and how are you going to pay for school? Are you getting, federal loans? Are you getting scholarships? Or do you have money in the bank that you're going to pay for school? I don't know. That's probably some people do that. I don't know. So I think those are sort of the 3 buckets: the personal, professional, and financial that I would guide people to think through.
Start with. And Aditi, for you, as you were exploring that, what were kind of the pros and cons and the things you were weighing, and how you went upon your journey and decision to go to grad school?
Yeah, for sure. What I'll say is, really think about what is your next step. I think it can be paralyzing when you try to think what do I want to do for the rest of my life? And that can be a daunting question. And for me, I was in consulting straight after college, and I really wanted to do marketing work. So I found that every time I was trying to move into the marketing department or get a marketing job to switch, everybody was like, well, you don't really have marketing experience. It's general consulting. And then if I wanted to go to marketing roles, I had to start all the way at the bottom. So I knew my next step was I wanted to get into marketing. So I ended up applying to grad school specifically for marketing. So I could actually start at a more mid-level role versus starting all the way from the bottom. So mine was like really specific. So for you, I want you to really think about, what is your next step? And no matter where you end up 10 years from now, I feel like your graduate studies will come in handy for some reason or not. Like, even though I'm not necessarily doing marketing anymore, the skills are still very handy for me. The connections I made are still very handy for me. So really thinking about what is your next step versus do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? Because you might be asking yourself that like every year for the next 40 years.
Yeah, Jocelyn probably has some good brain stories there of the decision factors going back and forth, and not just knowing if I should go, but when is the best time to go? Do I just jump right into it because I'm afraid to work? Or should I get some experience first? Or, yeah.
Well, and to piggyback on Aditi's point, like, as a person who is no longer in grad school, I only spent 7 months in grad school. I still am glad I went. It was still a valuable experience. It brought me geographically to the place where I am happy and at home now. It introduced me to some really wonderful people that I imagine will stay in my life in one way or another throughout the rest of my life. So absolutely, like even as a dropout, it still was a valuable experience, and I'm glad I did it.
Grad school dropout. Sorry, that's how my brain works. Hello. Kat, you were talking earlier about like the importance of finding your why, and I think that applies really well here too. When you're thinking about going to grad school, why do you want to go? And I think there's really practical reasons, like what Aditi's talking about, where if I know I want to be at a certain level in X field, then that makes complete sense. You're really clear on it. For me, I did a very impractical MFA in creative nonfiction writing, which I started that grad program right after I got quit. You heard that, right? I'll talk more about that on Thursday, and started my own company. So this is the worst advice I could give anyone, to start grad school and start your own business at the same time. It did work out really well. And for me, I wanted to go because I really wanted to become a better writer, and I wanted to be around people who that was their number one priority. And they wanted to be in that community and be accountable and just really focus and level up. And I think that's a skill that's really tough to do on your own. It can get very lonely, as Kat, I know you know as well too, being in copywriting for so long.
After a couple of years now of being apart, I think the last thing that many of us want is to be alone. The separation we have experienced during the pandemic has hopefully helped us appreciate our friends, our family, our coworkers who keep our spirits up each day. Grad school isn't quite like undergrad because people's lives start to change. People move off campus, maybe living with roommates or a partner. They could be working while they go to school, and free time just isn't the same as undergrad. Your focus and priorities start to change. While I still always love a good party, your career and your family start to take a precedent over friends and fun times. And that's okay, but it's a different type of school. Let's bring everyone back to talk about some of these differences, but also an important silver lining that comes from grad school: networking. So, Jocelyn, you said you decided to start a business while you were doing your grad school.
Yeah.
So that's not just like working, but like actually dreaming up your own dream. So how well did that go for you? And do you recommend it to others?
I do not recommend it. Okay, so I do not regret 1 second of it. But the reason I joke about not recommending it is because it was all work. It was like, when I was developing a copywriting, which led into creative direction and training facilitation, like brand voice development company, that over the years. But I started just going, can I make enough to eat a sandwich? I was on unemployment and I applied for loans. Both things, like, not practical advice. And then so I was, just working on like anything I could find, writing things I hated writing, press releases, and then eventually like case studies for Microsoft. Can I churn out 3 of these in a day? And then I would go to grad school at night. And then it would be, now I need to write, a thoughtful essay on my dead grandma or whatever I was writing about. Usually macabre things, unsurprisingly. So it was really, really tough. And it was, my ex, for a reason at the time, was like, why are you getting a writing degree? Why are you starting a writing business? Why don't you go get that guaranteed marketing job and get an MBA? The advice we all hear, go do the practical thing. And I'm like, my mom's like, get a job at Starbucks, go get benefits. And I'm just like, oof, you got to shut down and shut out all of those naysayers and all those voices, many of which come from your own skull, and really decide that you're going to focus. And there's not a lot of time for play, which that is the number one thing I do not recommend. Make sure you make time for yourself to play. But it worked out. Here I am.
Well, and that's such good advice. And I talk about that from my experience is I went straight from undergrad to my MBA. I specialized in international business and studied 4 languages and still did the European tour while working full time and planning a wedding. I had no fun. I was just all in for, 12 solid months. And I came out and I had no friends left. I mean, luckily my husband was still willing to marry me, but at the time, like that was it, and he was only there, because I think he put the ring on it. But other than that, I had pushed everybody away because I had to be so laser focused. And that wasn't good because then it came time to find jobs and I struggled because I had no network. And part of my vision for this and bringing people together for this conference is the network is so important. And so many people have lost their network because everyone got shoved back into their house and haven't actually been able to talk to people. And how have all of us met? None of us have met in person. We've all met through the internet, through various groups and things, which has been fantastic. But we've got to bring people back together again to figure those things out and help them make these decisions. Because like you said, Jocelyn, a lot of those voices either in their head or coming from their family and friends are quite negative, and they're telling them, don't do this, don't do that, and making it quite scary instead of being more encouraging and helping them find their why. I know, Aditi, you had a few things about making friends and making that network when you get into school.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like one of the most valuable things about grad school or even school in general is the network you create just by association. I know that when I reach out to somebody on LinkedIn who went to the same schools as me, they're more likely to want to connect. So I think that's really, really powerful. And a powerful benefit to it. And I actually also wanted to say I related to the intensity of grad school. Grad school is intense. It is not a joke. So really think about it if it's something you want to go into. And I actually had a similar experience where I kind of like shut out from all of my friends because I had no time to do anything else. I wasn't prepared for the intensity level of it. Another thing I feel like people are sometimes worried about is, can I go back into school mode if I have been in work mode for a while? And I was worried about that too. But honestly, within like a month or so, I was kind of back in the groove. So I don't think that's like a huge thing to worry about. But really know, as a parting thought, this is truly a personal decision. Let everybody tell you what they want to, but really come back to yourself and think about what is important for you, what is going to take you to that next step. Will you regret it if you didn't do it, right? So I think that question always really helps me out too. So just remember that this is a personal decision, and whatever you decide to do, make sure it's the best thing for you rather than anyone else.
Liquidless laundry detergent? As you know, plastic is a huge problem. Only 9% get recycled. Even if you put your jug in a bin, 25% gets declined from cross-contamination. If plastic does get recycled, it can only be reused twice. The facts don't lie. It's time to stop using plastic. Did you know that liquid detergent is up to 90% water? Earthbreeze created dehydrated detergent. Our Eco Sheets easily dissolve in hot or cold water with the same powerful clean you're used to. Our packaging is biodegradable cardboard and ink. Eco-friendly options are usually expensive. Eco Sheets are affordable. That way, everyone can make a difference. Laundry detergent is one of the most requested items at homeless shelters. With every package, we donate 10 loads of detergents. You get to choose who you donate to. We also donate a portion of our revenue to the planet. There is no reason not to switch. Subscribe and receive it exactly when you need it. No contracts, cancel anytime. We even offset all of our carbon emissions. This means your deliveries are carbon neutral. You can stay safe and order right from your home. Eco Sheets are vegan and cruelty-free, dye-free, paraben-free, and a fragrance-free option, and sensitive to the most delicate skin. There are already thousands of 5-star reviews. And we offer a satisfaction guarantee. If you have any issues, we will refund you. So why not give Eco Sheets a try? Click below or visit earthbreeze.com.
Grad school is a commitment, so overall, I recommend not to take the decision lightly. And many people jump into it simply because others are pushing them in that direction, or they aren't ready for the alternative, which is going into the workforce. And then you aren't likely to get out of it what you need. You might be miserable working so hard for something you aren't passionate about. And then you come out struggling again with the same question. I graduated, now what? You will know if it's a match. I loved grad school. I got so much more out of my MBA than I did my undergrad. It made me think differently. It was more about management, leadership, and what motivates people. It was about psychology. It was about how people work, how to inspire them to do the best they can each day. For me, it was more about learning around the world, since my degree was in international business. Learning not just about different languages, but about culture and places where languages live. But that love didn't make it easy. They were tough courses with amazing professors. And the pressure to perform was constant. This on top of juggling a full-time job, planning a wedding, it was a lot for anyone to handle. But I didn't doubt my decision for a second to go to grad school because each class gave me something I needed to succeed once I was out working. And even with the long days and sleepless nights, I knew it was the right path for me. You may not know you need a different path until you get there, and that's okay. Sometimes we have to jump into the deep end to see if we can swim. If you stay on land forever, dreaming of the ocean, you will never see what you're capable of. And as many people talked about in the panel there, the network is the most critical thing I want you to take away from this episode. Whether it's through grad school or your church or another association, build your network often and regularly. Make genuine connections, guys, with people that you enjoy spending time with and that you want to see do well. Networking is a two-way street and shouldn't just be used to gain an advantage for yourself. I talked about it a little bit in episode 15 with Fuck the Algorithms, but these so-called social networks as we see them now are ending. A new future of more authentic connections is coming. A future that is beneficial for both parties, not just selling your information to the highest bidder and giving you nothing in return. But more on that topic when we come back in season 3. For now, I know you have a lot of big decisions ahead of you. Maybe grad school wasn't on your radar when this semester began, but times have changed. You have changed. Maybe even go back to earlier episodes of Stand Up and Stand Out and listen to these concepts again, not with finding a job in mind, but with grad school or other opportunities which may be presenting themselves to you. Make sure these opportunities align with your values and purpose, and you aren't just chasing shiny brand names or money. That is where the longevity comes to play, where you can sustain yourself on exciting, purpose-driven activities, which also cover your bills, where you can grow as a person and think past the new car or fancy clothes, and that you are investing your time in the things that matter to you, not spending it as a means to an end. That was a lot of heavy stuff there for episode 19, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed parts of the grad school panel, and we've given you some good food for thought. If you haven't already, head over to our social channels to follow, subscribe, like, comment, whatever happens to be on that particular platform, on the episodes that inspired you most. Give us some feedback so we know what else to add in as we start planning out season 3. You can always find us at greenchameleoncollective.com/podcast to see all of our previous episodes, lots more about our speakers, and lots more about the projects we have going on.
Thanks for spending your commute or gym time with us. We'll see you next week with episode 20 to close out season 2. This has been Nikki Green, your host of Stand Up and Stand Out.
Well, another awesome show in the books. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed making it. For video outtakes of the show, don't forget to catch us on TikTok You Don't Stop at Nikki Green 678. The full-length shows are available on all the podcast platforms now, including Amazon Music, Stitcher, and Good Pods. The full video is available on Nikki's YouTube channel, and links to all of our social media, including info about our guests, is available in our show notes and on our website at www.greenchameleoncollective.com/podcast. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye.